Hello everybody, I am Harsh Avasthi, Assistant Professor in Management Department of NIET Greater Noida. Today we will discuss about time value of money. Earlier we talked about corporate valuation and financial decisions, which are supposed to be important discussions to be taken care while going for the study of financial management. Now proceeding with the time value of money, one of the very significant topic which is needed to be discussed amongst the practitioners as well as the management students, just to get a clear understanding about the value of the money in respect to time. So proceeding further, when we talk about the time value of money, it's basically based on the preference of the time. As it has been written clearly, preference for possession of a given amount of money. Whatever money is held, whatever money is kept with an individual or by a company, that is kept under certain motive to fulfill certain needs. So preference for possession of a given amount of money now. The term now has been italicized. It has its own emphasis. Why now? When we talk about the future, the only certain thing about future is that future is highly uncertain and we cannot predict it. We cannot predict that what's going to happen. We can only forecast. And if we talk about the forecasting, there is a proverb which says that forecasting is like to drive a car blindfolded and following the directions of the person who is looking out of the back window. फोरकास्टिंग आंख पर पट्टी बांधकर कार चलाने जैसा है और उस व्यक्ति के निर्देशों का पालन करना है जो पीछे की खिड़की से बाहर की ओर देख रहा है. So we don't have any vision. We just are having the historical data as we do the post-mortem analysis in case of financial accounting. But based on the historical data, we can only predict or forecast the trends. We can only process the data and say that these are the probable events which are supposed to happen. So when we talk about now, it means I am going to defy all those parameters, all those presumptions which would be meeting to me or which could be meeting to me in future, but their meeting is not sure. It could be certainty also, it could be uncertainty also. So the best premise comes to be there as that what is today there with me, that's going to have the value. I am going to rely on that value. So again, reiterating the written lines, individual's preference for possession of a given amount of money now rather than the same amount at some future time, as I will again repeat that only certain thing about future is that it is highly uncertain. And that's why the practitioners, the financial analysts are needed to understand this and they practice it. Because when we come to the real world problem, we can only visualize those issues which are currently going to happen in front of us. It does not mean to say that we should not be making a blueprint of the activities, blueprint of the events, what's proposed there, but we cannot completely rely on them. We cannot completely rely on them. That's why the word now is having a very significant meaning here. So when we talk about the time preference for identifying the value of the money, then we can be moving for three parameters. First is risk, second is preference for consumption, and third is the investment opportunities. Risk is inevitable. When we are going into the investment, when we are going for savings, even we could be going for any activity. Crossing the road could be involving a risk. But here we are going to talk in the discipline of the finance, in discipline of investments, in discipline of money. So risk is here related to my finances. The market risk could be there, that could be a business risk, that could be an economic risk, that could be a risk which is having a higher impact or having a lower impact. that could be related to the macroeconomic variables, it could be related to the microeconomic variables also. So, I have to decide, I have to analyze, being an analyst, being a practitioner, being a business owner, being a owner manager, I have to decide that what is the risk associated there and how I am going to calculate it, how I can be avoiding it, whether it is a systematic risk or an unsystematic risk. If it is systematic, it cannot be avoided. It will come under a system and that cannot be diversified. We cannot avoid it, we cannot eliminate it by diversification, but yes, if it is an unsystematic risk, it can surely be diversified, it can be eliminated. So, risk is associated with, now we can say money, we can say funds, we can say finances, we can say investment, again return, risk and return profile, the relation between the risk and the return, more the risk, more the return, less the risk, less the return. It is a very common saying in the market when we talk about the layman's language. Second is the preference for consumption. Preference for consumption means that whatever income is going to happen there. Let me tell you. Income, either that would go for consumption or that would go for saving, and ultimately it goes in both. It depends on the priority whether I am going to start consumption after securing my savings or I am going to secure the savings after putting all my income into the consumption. That is my premise being an individual. That could be in case of individual and another part could be in case of a company. Whether company is going to take the good amount of returns, is going to retain good amount of returns out of its earnings, and after that certain consumptions are going to be taken care. Or company is going to spend and whatever is left, that is going to be retained as a reserve. It is completely dependent on the policy of the company, on the policy of the, on the orientation of that owner, on the orientation of that business owner. Then investment opportunities. When we talk about the investment opportunities, we cannot leave the opportunity cost. Now, opportunity cost is the cost of that alternative which has been foregone, and that was supposed to be the best one. As per my analysis, if I am an analyst, then the alternative to which I am analyzing as the best one, as per my collective wisdom, as per my acquired knowledge, as per my analytical ability, the best alternative for me and that have been foregone, then the cost of foregoing that best alternative is the opportunity cost. But I should not be forgetting that the alternative which is best for me could be better or good for someone else. It is completely dependent on the analytical bent of mind and other attributes how I am going to analyze it. So, when we talk about the attributed reasons that why we go for the time preference, we call about three reasons: risk, preference for consumption and investment opportunities. Proceeding further, we would talk about two different processes for calculating the time value of money. One is known as compounding and another is known as discounting. Compounding is a process where we are going to calculate the value of a cash flow in some future sense, or calculating the future value of the cash flow is the compounding. In your elementary classes, while calculating the simple interest problems, you must have been calculated the compound interest problems. It is something like that, it is exactly like that even. Now, discounting is reverse of compounding. Compounding is going to give me a future value, where discounting is going to give me the present value of that future sum. Both are completely different processes, but these two processes are going to be used while calculating the time value of money from the two perspectives. First perspective is that future value of a present investment, and second perspective is present value of a future investment. So, let us proceed further. Now, there is some formulae for calculating the future value of a single cash flow. I would like to say here that we would be calculating the future value of a single cash flow as well as an annuity. To annuity I will come later. So, let us talk about the future value of the single cash flow. Here it has been written that future value is equal to principal plus interest on principal. Now, for example, my principal is 100 and interest on principal. So, rate of interest I can say it is I or I can say it is R, but in this slide I am going to use I for the rate of interest. So, I goes for rate of interest 10%. Very simple calculation is there. So, when P is equal to 100 and I is equal to 10%, what I have to do here? $100 plus interest on principal, that is plus 10% of 100. So, that comes to be 100 plus 10 is equal to 110 for a single cash flow. It is a simple interest, very simple interest formula. ये हम सब ने किया है अपने छोटे क्लासेस में. So, if I is equal to interest rate, N is equal to number of periods. Now, here comes some twist. That is for what calculated we earlier, that is for a single year, single number of period. Now, what we have to do here, there could be also a possibility that I could have been reinvesting my money and getting money after some n number of periods, and that n is more than 1, that can be n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 5, 10, 20, 50 based on my needs. So, when I am going to calculate the future value, so that is future value is equal to principal, this one, and interest on principal, this one, P times I, where I is the interest rate, this one, I is equal to interest rate. So, if I am going to have it more than 1 times, right, what I would be doing that? Then this is the formula, FV is equal to P1 plus I, कॉमन आ गया ना P इसमें से, this one, P common 1 plus I. Now, if numbers are going to increase 1 year, 2 year, n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 years, simply we have to put a value of n here and raise to the power of n to the calculated value of P1 plus I, that is raised to the power number of years. So, this is all how we are going to calculate the future value of a single cash flow. Now, this 1 plus I raised to the power n is known as the compound value factor, CVF. So, rather than calculating it again and again by using a formula, there is construction of tables to ease the calculation, and by just going to that table for a given number of years and for a given interest rate, we can very easily find out this factor, this one. And what we have to do? We have to multiply this compound value factor with our principal amount in order to obtain the future value of a single cash flow. So, that is something we need to understand here. So, my formula comes like this: future value at the given time n is equal to P multiplied by compounded value factor for a given number of years and for a given interest rate. So, this is about the future value of a single cash flow. So, let us try to calculate it for this given example. So, it has been written as you have rupees 1000 and deposited in bank. Bank offers a rate of interest of 5%. What will be the value of your deposit after first year, second year and third year? So, for the first year we will be first calculating here. Now, what I have to show you, that is basically a CVF of lump sum of rupee 1. If I am going to invest rupee 1 today, in this column time n has been mentioned, and in these rows value of rate of interest has been mentioned I. So, I have to find out the respective values in a particular cell which is corresponding to my n, that is the period, and to the rate of interest, that is the I. So, I will zoom it out here, just specifically going for that. So, if we go for our question, that is P is equal to 1000, here we can see rupees 1000, and what we have to do, that bank offers 5% of the rate of interest. So, I goes for 5%, and normally it is going to be shown here as per annum basis, annual rate of interest. So, what would be the value of my rupees 1000 when I am going to deposit them into the bank, and after 1 year when I am going to enjoy the 5% of rate of interest on that. So, let us see it in the table. What I have to identify, as I had told you, these are the number of years and here these are the rate of interests. So, it has been asked after 1 year for a given rate of percentage 5%. So, what I have to select, that is my I. After first year, that is my n, first year. So, what I have to identify, this corresponding cell value. For n is equal to 1 and I is equal to 5, this is the cell value. What I will be doing here, that value comes to be 1.0500. So, this would be FV is equal to P 1 plus I to the power n. N is equal to 1, that would be FV is equal to P 1 plus I. P is equal to 1000 multiplied by, what is the factor? 1.0500. That is our answer. Likewise, for the second year, let us see. For n is equal to 2 and I at 5%. So, rate of interest is 5% and year period is 2. So, this corresponding value is coming here. Let us do it, that is 1.1025. So, here we will come as 1.1025. 1.1025 thousand. So, that would be 1050, that would be, likewise you can calculate it. For the third year, just be particular to the table. For the 5%, n is equal to 3, this value is there. So, that is 1.1576, 1.1576 times 1000 is equal to 1157.6. So, that is all how we can calculate these values. So, it is pretty easy. Only thing is here that we have to develop understanding of fetching the right value out of this compound value table. That is the main course of action. Its zoomed variant is here as I shown. I have taken this cutout because that was only pertinent to my solution. So, here you could be seeing that if it is visible clearly that you 20% up to that and here up to 25, n is equal to 25. So, this is a tabulation. We can find it with the help of the compound interest formula. These all values in the different cells, those are known as compound value factor, have been calculated by using the compounding value formula. So, proceeding further, we will talk about the compound value of annuity. Annuity is basically, as it has been written here, fixed payment or receipts each year for a specified number of years, each year. Before this, we talked about a single cash flow. Single cash flow means once I have invested and at a given time or after certain time, I would be getting that money back at a given interest rate with a given n, which was f n is equal to p multiplied by CVF for that given number and for that given interest, rate of interest. So, annuity is supposed to be repeated each year up to a specified number of years. So, what is here that if today I have been investing certain amount of money, then what would be my value after a particular time where I am going to invest it on every basis. It could be receipt also, it could be payment also. So, in the earlier example, what we had did that we deposited rupees 1000 into the bank for a given 5% rate of interest, and we created 3 cases there that what would be the value of rupees 1000 after first year, second year and third year. But I invested in the first year only. You can understand it by this, that is the start time 0, first year, second year and third year. What I did in the single cash flow, that I invested rupees 1000 here and tried to find out the values at after the end of first year, after the end of second year, after the end of third year separately. What is going to happen in the case of annuity? Start of the year, first year complete, second year complete and third year complete. I am going to invest at this point, again at this point, again at this point, I could be stopping. Here you could be seeing that I have invested a value of rupees 3000, whether previously I was investing only rupees 1000 at this point and calculating the values at these points. So, that could be also a case that I am not going to calculate value here, after 3 years it could be a different value, that was 1156.70 paisa. But here every year I am going to make a payment, make an investment. So, obviously its value is going to be different. So, this is known as annuity. This could be the payment also, this could be the receipt also. So, as I am going to invest, as I am going to make the payment, I could be receiving them also. So, there is a slight difference where we were going for a present value of lump sum of rupee 1, here we would be calculating the future value of annuity of rupees 1. I will correct. Previously, we were talking about in case of single cash flow, the lump sum of future value of lump sum of rupee 1, and here we are going to calculate the future value of annuity of rupee 1. It is a different table only. This is the table. Now, you can be seeing on the top that CVF of annuity of rupee 1, compound value factor of annuity of rupee 1. Again coming back to the formula, future value is equal to annuity cash flow multiplied by CVF for annuity of rupees 1. In the previous formula, we were calculating the compound value factor for single cash flow for one time deposit. Here we are making the deposit in a recurring way. So, this is a slight difference. Every year money is going to be invested, payments are going to be made or receipts are going to be received. This is needed to be understood here. I remains the same interest rate, N remains the same number of periods before payoff, when my complete amount would be fetched by me, would be enjoyed by me. So, this formula sounds like Fn is equal to A. Now, A is the amount of annuity here multiplied by compound value factor of an annuity for given period N and for given rate of interest I. So, let us see this table. Now, that is the cutout version of this table for my illustration. So, let us go for a firm deposits rupees 5,000 at the end of each year for 4 years. So, you can be seeing here 4 years. N is equal to 4 years at a 6% rate of interest. I is equal to 6%. How much annuity would accumulate at the end of 4th year? Now, firm has deposited 5,000 rupees 4 times. Rate of interest is 6% per annum. So, what would be happening in the first year? 5,000 plus 6% of 5,000. Then 5,000 plus 6% of 5,000 plus 6% of that amount. That would be the money. How I am going to identify it with the given table? That is N this way and this is I this way. We have to identify for the 4th year for 6% rate of interest. Let us move for this. So, FVN is equal to A multiplied by CVF of annuity for N and I. So, A is equal to 5,000 multiplied by what was the factor here? 4.3746, 4.3746. That is your answer. So, this is the way how we can calculate the future value of an annuity. So, that is all about the future value of the single cash flow and annuity cash flow. So, that is all about this discussion. Thank you very much for listening me. Thank you.